For na do be catch am say Shatta Wale buefu o social media na so adesini na efa Stonebwoy now before send na do call na bufu eba no na dey say why this song kra ma Stonebwoy dey daw
yeah don't be a man I go break that leg if you don't stop that bush life
and pay me that sorry and na say asem kro na ye cha Stonebwoy so aye nyom no baby woman this say dirty bad mind and witchcraft jealousy and make them sweet part near there me to me part was Stonebwoy dey bet me aka
mind and witchcraft jealousy I make them fish fast. Thinking say them I go rich fast.
Now Nina Efa Fifth Dimension concert at Stonebwoy Ebeyen on the 22nd of December. And then Shatta Wale so Freedom Wave concert or Pesoye on the 25th of December. Our Accra Sports Stadium. Finally, NSA boss no Ababe Kasa. Samsung information biaba a high Gossip 24. Message when you give. So be me a subscribe button. Now click the bell notification icon so. Now Facebook follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Be there gossip24.com. Any Gossip24 TV. Etienne assembling chemu aba because no Shatta Wale live video be no ya drop on Gossip25 any so. Obetimi a check now. So tie crash Shatta Wale bo. Now we share social media so history nature Shatta Wale dey kan announcing the concert no say ja obeyen on the 25th at Accra Sports Stadium. Na bia Stonebwoy so announcing it 5 days ago so obeyen so dey on the 22nd at Accra Sports Stadium na. Obeka say bia Stonebwoy anya de o twintwe Shatta Wale anemu. But according to NSA boss, Professor Peter Chumesi no ocha both Shatta Wale and Stonebwoy no omoni NSA any contracts bia for Accra Sports Stadium. Enquiries and as a process nimu and omonam chese omo ba be secure Accra Sports Stadium no for events. No kra no or try so be bo omo and on person omo di assembly no ne omienu na atenase a discuss bibia adida. Now after saying NSA boss no can sansem we area ni sem no catch Ghana web for after so can sansem we no both Stonebwoy camp Stonebwoy na kasa and Shatta Wale camp so Sami ba flex so akasa na yesha se every Stonebwoy camp because Shatta Wale there we di kan akasa dida. Now according to Stonebwoy no obia sabotage obia Stonebwoy say I sama Shatta Wale ka and obia frɛ and wa sabotage no obia sabotage obia na samanfo ko deep e ko tie real story ne kwa na on be surprise Shatta Wale no misinform me about for social media so.
He says he needs 3 days.
I really would I don't want to engage too much in this because when I chanced upon it this morning, you know, I realized that there was too much. There's misinformation also in what he was tendering in. So I'll just leave it at that. You know, I know you guys are able entity. You can find out the right infos. But I believe 22nd and 25th are dates that everybody can host shows and they are very doable, you know, irrespective of the fact that it's a stadium because we lack venues that much, you know, in this place. And you can see that the Grand Arena, for instance, is always under pressure where people do 20th, 21st, 22nd, but we all do find time to put up amazing setups.
That's right.
And make things work. So basically, you know, I
do you see?
It's a real story, no energy. Now, Stonebwoy manager, Chief Styles, and the Shassi, social media, so Chim say, Shatta Wale a liar. In so much Shatta Wale can now, or transfer, Shatta Wale a bitter. Because Shatta Wale need Kofa Kuntuna say underground, yeah, Cosby, Efrel, the Godfather, Lord Komimu. I send compensation when you say Stonebwoy in the concert no Emma so Emma so much changes Stonebwoy dates in from 23rd to 22nd. Ni na so Shatta Wale na Shatta Wale be gina social media so say omo sabotage or Shatta Wale no e concert ana Shatta Wale di transfer ana pay or san so call Hit FM e concert the records straight.
So
you got to where you made inquiry and you made payment and then
they got an invoice.
You got the invoice,
and
right?
They were asked to hold on.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you were asked to hold on.
Yes.
So that was where you got to her.
Because according to Prof, I mean when we sat in the meeting, he said, "Oh, I mean Shatta is my boy too. He's been doing this event here. I'm just quoting. He's been doing this event here. So let's hold on. Let's get his team, and then for him to also acknowledge and formally." You know, inform us of what they want to do. And then the technical guys can then sit down and check if the timing between the 23rd and 25th works for them to work in terms of setup. And so we have to hold on with payment, you know, as at that time. So right after that, I engaged the Sami Flex and I made him understand it is beam concert we trying to do here. So it's only fair for you to engage the technical guys. And then we called Mr. Frankie because he did the setup for them last year, and he's the one doing it again for them this year. So we engaged him in a conversation together with Polly Blaze, and they said, yeah, they were fine. I mean, in terms of setup for them to do whatever they want to do, it was fine. But I got a feedback from Sammy again that, I mean, his man was not happy with the timing, so he's pushing for more time for them to set up. That's the information I got from Sammy.
Now, me team grass Stonebwoy come for airborne. Now, there's someone admit to say, or money NSA no any contract be and now so NSA boss no and so admit here. Our partner Chief Styles, Ekasa or HFM ni mu say 25th ni dia Shatta Wale dia. Na mom no mo 23rd ni dia dey be ni ma ben 22nd. Now so money Shatta Wale international entry komo hwe kwan a mumienu na no betumi afa so organize show we na dey say we I could do Shatta Wale so. Into Chief Styles no friends Sammy Flex any Sammy Flex bon komo e mo money technical director ne so no e bon komo fine until say it is Sammy Flex so and Sema Waka. Now according to Sammy Flex in come one Empire for Education, Sammy Flex say almost submit a request letter at the man NSA no just munya approval every NSA no name no process or more train say bia komo sabeka contract no me proceed so metua ka no mo secure a sports stadium no but the mu yan Stonebwoy na feche ekoko secure sports stadium no wa bra Stonebwoy no any contract mo de hu ni say Saturday na Stonebwoy ye ne de oye say omo event on the 25th of December no and a Stonebwoy per se or say ne keke or per so say no now Sammy Flex aso copy our Twitter live spaces so and eka in same way at the twaso.
But when you want to book the stadium, first of all you have to write a request letter to them. After writing the request letter to them, they will respond to your request letter. Then in their response, they will give you a contract, which will stipulate how much you are supposed to pay to get the venue to use. So right after, we prepared the letter and we gave it to them. So they have received our letter. But before that, when even Roland went there for that conversation, he was told that someone wants to use the stadium on 23rd December. But because the stadium knows that, according to their policies, anybody who gets the space to do a show, they give you at least a 3 days clear setup because they know how big the stadium is. Then they know how setup can be cumbersome or how setup can be a little bit complex. They give you 3 days clear that you can do your setup. Then after, they give you about 2 days to do the tear down or the offloading. So in all, like about 5 days. So indirect, like a week to do your show in and out, then you are done. So to them, because someone wants to do 23rd and the stadium recognizes our show on 25th, because we've been doing this with them for the past 3 years. The stadium recognizes our show for that time. They want to start talking to us. If we are willing to talk to the logistics providers of the people who will be doing that show. In fact, as of that time, I was even asking who is doing the show. The people who were talking to me were not even ready to tell me who. It took days. They were still not telling me who is doing the show. Of course, as an industry person, I did my search here and there, and I got the information that so it was Stonebwoy's team who wants to do the show. Then they said, it is a non-disclosure, and they cannot say it because the person one has not even booked, the person has not paid, they are still talking to them. So what they want to do is to speak with us. And if we are comfortable with the arrangement, then they can go ahead and do the booking for them and us. Then do the booking for them and us. That is how we want to do it. So later, when they realized that, okay, I've gotten to know it is Stonebwoy, then they said, okay, they will let the Stonebwoy's team call me. So I think before that, Chief, who is Stonebwoy's current manager, called me. When he called me and he started the conversation of, Charlie, this time around, Stone wants to come to the Accra Sports Stadium, but we know say you guys have 25th. So because we know setup time and blah, 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 I want you to talk to Shatta. He calls him Junior. I want you to talk to Junior so that you guys can agree, then the logistics provide. So I think he did his own research and realized that Frankie is the one who has been doing the setup for us. So he even wants to talk to Frankie.
Yes, Frankie and Paul.
Yeah, so that Frankie will also do it for them. So it will not be like hard for us to do the exchange of logistics when we come in to do our setup. And I told him that, bro, you see this conversation, it is a hard conversation to have, knowing how the two brothers are. And I keep telling anybody that I'm not in to disrespect either Stonebwoy or Shatta Wale or anybody. I'm only in to deliver a service as I have been given to do for Shatta Wale, and that's what I'm doing. So after Chief's conversation with me on the phone, I think the next day or two, I went to... So yes, it was that I was supposed to speak to Shatta, and I get back to him on what Shatta also says in response to his request. So after that particular conversation, I went to the professor, that's Professor Chumasi, at the Accra Sports Stadium for a meeting. In the meeting, the professor asked us, oh, he's hearing some back and forth with our show, but what is really the problem? Then I told the professor that, Prof, our show, the stadium recognizes our show is on 25th. And the stadium, in fact, they told us they recognize our show at every point in time. They know on 25th, Shatta Wale and his team will surely come here and do their show. But we are hearing Team Stonebwoy would also want to do a show some 2 days before our show. And that will really discomfort. It will give us so many inconvenience. It will be hard for us to do our setup because last year we saw the things we did, and this year we want to improve on them. What it means is that we will do more this year. So the setup days and the time that they are doing their show will surely inconvenience us. So that is what we have been talking about. And they have been trying to talk to us to do this and that with them. But in all, we are not comfortable. And even according to the stadium rules, it is not done like that. So that's how the stadium rules work. That's how we want them to handle us. Then the prof said, oh, okay, then this shouldn't be a problem. But even as the stadium, to them, if there is someone they would recognize, it is Shatta Wale, because Shatta Wale has been doing this show with them for the past 3 years. So if there is someone, he has a date, 25th December. For the past 3 years, he's been doing it. So if there is someone the stadium even recognizes, it is Team Shatta Wale. And later, if they think that someone wants to do it, they will also see how best they can help. But for now, looking at what we are telling them, then it's fine. They can give Stonebwoy also a date, but the date should not conflict. That is the first meeting I had with the prof. Listen to me very well. The first meeting I had with the prof, they can also give them a date. Maybe 1 week after our show or 1 week before our show, he can also come and do his show, and that is it. So it was on that day. So those who are on social media, and they've seen me post a video from the stadium. It was after that meeting. When that meeting was done, then I went to the stadium with a certain Jude who was in the video. Then I said, oh, we just finished the meeting with the prof, and the professor agreed, blah, 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 blah. And that the professor even said that he would encourage more creatives to come and do their shows at the stadium. That is how it started. So after that, this meeting, the first meeting I'm talking about was last week, Wednesday. He told the Jude guy that now he's finished with us. He should prepare our contract for us to start our publicity, and we are good to go, maybe Thursday or Friday. They even told us that there is something that we need to pay because of last year's event. There is some damage that they think we caused it, so we have to pay. I said, no problem.
Yes, I understand there's an outstanding 40,000 Ghana cedis to be paid.
I don't know the figure. They didn't mention the figure to me as of the time. Neither the prof or whoever was part of. They didn't.
That's the information I have.
And that's what I'm saying. They did not mention that me that I'm supposed to pay. They didn't mention it to me. So if they have mentioned it to you, that's because they said they were going to add it to their contract for us to pay. Then I said, okay, no problem, because after all, we finished a meeting with the professor, successful meeting. He says we can do our show. Stonebwoy Dams too can also come and do their show at a time that will not conflict with anybody, and we are good to go. You understand? So when we left there, we went to record a video. So Thursday, the contract did not come. Friday, the contract did not come. Then I think it was on that Friday when we also saw a flyer from Team Stonebwoy. They were also advertising their 22nd. So when I was waiting for the contract that it was not coming, then I called the Jude guy. That Jude, we finished the meeting with Professor. Professor says, give us a contract. And as I'm talking to you, the contract has still not been given to me. What is happening? Charlie, see the discussion that I've been telling you. I say, Jude, what discussion again? We've come to meet the professor. The professor says we can do our show. They can also do their show later. The professor says there is no problem again. And you, Jude, could have told you that, bro, this back and forth, I'm not interested because I don't want to come like hampering someone's show. So what are we to do again? What is this back and forth again? I'll call you back. In fact, anytime I call him, I'll call you back the 1,005. Then later he said, okay, the professor will call for another meeting again. I said, well, no problem. If the professor wants to call for another meeting, that's fine. Then I think yesterday, around 10 somewhere or 11 somewhere, I received a call from Jude that Professor wants to meet me at the office at 1. In fact, I was, because that was when I had returned from Kumasi, so I was putting myself together in my office. But because this call was important, so I had to leave everything and go to the professor. Now, when we got to the professor, I think later Chief also joined us with some of his team members. Then the professor starts telling us that, Charlie, this our show is giving him problems. This weekend he has not rested. Calls from everywhere. The president's daughter is calling. Lord Comey is calling. This blah, blah, blah is calling. This blah, blah is calling. Of course, I can also admit Lord Comey called on our behalf. And he called on our behalf because of the delay we were getting from getting the contract to pay. As it stands now, and where did just I talk to you, there is still 100,000 in my account that I was supposed to go and do the deposit.
Now, so tie some flex in the same work now. That's a utie conversations from both Stonebwoy camp and Shatta Wale camp. And some question, then it's obvious say omumi na no new contract with NSA. If you see I say NSA ni person mafia obia, either so person mafia Stonebwoy and also person mafia Shatta Wale na obetumi mafia abo. Na mom no Stonebwoy no pen conversation our 3 music so no say na no see that man for ase no e confirm say sankofo no so boa no e ma nitimi secure ni date e 22nd no e wa Accra Sports Stadium. Into on the beto Shatta Wale bia on the 25th bia no enye na asem.
Stay away from that conversation, but fans are just on our case, and I'm glad that we've clarified that, so that because people want to know. At the end of the day, I mean, the fans also have a right to know. So 22nd is happening.
It's happening live, and there's no truth in anybody sabotaging in anybody. No, it's really interesting when you get the background and realize the narrative out there is really not what it is, And on this note, I'll just reassure the people that it's happening, and thanks to everybody who has played a part in making sure we'll be able to secure, the National Sports Authority, the professor himself. I need to have to give credit, and the Creative Art Agency CEO Jan Kroma Akufuado, and Okreku Mante as well. And, because all these people are involved to make sure stuff happen. And I want to assure the people also that security is going to be touched on.
And no sabotage Shatta Wale because Shatta Wale no any formal contract with Accra Sports Stadium. Any formal contract with NSA no for the Accra Sports Stadium. Just as NSA boss now are confirming. Now Shatta Wale so when the date, I just say per conversations no, it appears a technical director and suka chair Shatta Wale mu say bibia had dates no. But Shatta Wale so who say on peneso says Stonebwoy no e be ben dey because no who say oh yeah enough time. See you be to be setting things up. No organizing the concert. What's including now? Shawadrim or comment section. A high gossips 24. Magraheb.